Chosen one, if you've been waking up exhausted even after sleeping through the night, listen, that's not laziness, that's not weakness, that's not depression, that is spiritual warfare that's been hitting you while you sleep. You haven't been resting, you've been battling in the spirit. Your bed hasn't been a place of comfort, it's been a battleground. And yet, you woke up again. That alone is a victory. Because what your spirit fought off in the night would have taken out someone who wasn't chosen. There's a reason your body feels heavy before the day begins. It's not from what's ahead, it's from what you've already carried. You're waking up under the residue of the battle you just came through. And if no one else understands it, I do. I see the weariness behind your strength, the tension behind your patience, and the warfare hidden beneath your silence. The enemy knows your potential, and that's why he keeps targeting your rest. But hear me now, what you're feeling is not failure. It's the aftershock of victory. You've been told to get up and keep going. But I'm telling you today, stay in bed when I say stay in bed. Not because you're giving up, but because I'm reinforcing you. I don't need your hustle, I need your healing. I don't require you to push, I require you to trust. The bed isn't weakness, it's strategy. Because while you rest, I war. And while you lay still, I'm moving everything in place. This is how I train my warriors, through stillness, not striving. Chosen one, you're in a season where your battles are shifting dimensions. You're not fighting things you can name anymore. You're resisting discouragement that doesn't come from circumstance. You're pushing through oppression that doesn't make sense logically, and that's your first sign. You're dealing with invisible warfare that shows up physically. When there's no clear reason to feel drained, confused, or anxious, and yet you are, that's not emotional. It's spiritual. The attacks have evolved because your calling has too. And here's the second sign, the one no one talks about. You keep winning battles no one knows you're fighting. You haven't told anyone the thoughts you had to overcome last night. You didn't post about the temptation you resisted, the panic attack you prayed through, or the suicidal thought you shut down. But I saw it, I counted it, and I called it victory. The holy war isn't loud, it's silent. The battlefield isn't public, it's private. And the reward isn't applause, it's power. You don't need to prove your warfare to anyone. Your obedience proves everything. You've mistaken exhaustion for defeat, but that's not what this is. This is the part of the holy war where I lay you down before I raise you up. I'm rebuilding your spirit while the world still thinks you're just resting. But heaven knows, this rest is resistance. The kind of resistance that drives demons mad because they can't stop you even when you're still. Rest is your warfare now, and I need you to honor it. Because there are battles coming that require a whole new version of you, and I'm birthing it while you sleep. Don't let culture make you feel guilty for stillness. Don't let religion convince you that fatigue is failure. This is not the season of proving, it's the season of preserving. You're being fortified for what's ahead, not forgotten. I don't send my warriors to the front lines exhausted. I don't launch assignments from burnout. And I don't anoint people who can't obey simple rest. So stay in bed when your spirit tells you to. That's not a breakdown, it's divine alignment. I am the one calling you to the quiet. Because even in the quiet, you're still advancing. Even in the stillness, you're still fighting. Even in the waiting, you are still warring. Your dreams are prophetic. Your weariness is confirmation. Your stillness is sacred, and your presence is proof. The holy war you've been fighting has been secret, but the reward will be seen. Don't rush to prove you're okay. Rest in the truth that I know exactly where you are, and I'm the one who led you there. Stay in bed, chosen one. That's where I'm building your next breakthrough. Chosen one, when you're in the middle of a holy war, the world around you keeps moving like nothing is happening. Bills still come, people still call, responsibilities still demand. And yet, inside your spirit, something massive is shifting. You're not just tired, you're transforming. You're not just distracted, you're discerning. You're not just isolating, you're being insulated, because I don't let my soldiers fight in public until they've been restored in private. That's what this bed season is. It's private restoration for public elevation. You haven't failed just because you don't have the energy for everyone else's expectations. You've grown. You've discerned what's yours to carry and what's not. And I'm proud of you for putting down what was never your weight to begin with. You're not responsible for keeping everyone comfortable while your soul is at war. You're not called to be strong for people who can't see the battles you fight. I called you to rest and you obeyed. That's what real strength looks like, and that's why I'm about to multiply your peace. You're not behind. You're hidden. You're not overlooked. You're under divine lockdown. Because when I protect someone, I pull them out of exposure. I bring them into stillness. I silence the noise. So when it feels like no one's calling, texting, or reaching out, don't panic. That's me removing the unnecessary. Not everyone can have access to you while you're being weaponized. This isolation is not punishment. It's preparation. And when I release you, you'll be sharper than ever. You've been in a fog, but it's not confusion. It's recalibration. Your mind has been resisting old patterns, and that takes energy. That's why it's been hard to focus, hard to plan, hard to finish what you started. Because I'm rewiring you. I'm changing the architecture of your thoughts. You're not lazy. You're being rebooted. The old way of thinking doesn't fit where I'm taking you. So I'm uninstalling fear, shame, and survival mode, and replacing them with clarity, authority, and supernatural vision. Let's take a quick moment to anchor this in. If this message is hitting home, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe so you never miss a moment of divine clarity, and drop 55 in the comments. That's your code for covenant, new beginnings, and divine alignment. Chosen one, you've outgrown every former version of yourself. That's why people don't recognize you anymore. That's why the old conversations don't feel right. That's why you can't return to who you were, even if you tried. You're not malfunctioning, you're maturing. And with maturity comes separation. Not everyone will understand your silence. Not everyone will respect your stillness. But I do, because I'm the one calling you into it. You've felt the urge to explain yourself, but I'm telling you now, don't. Let your rest offend them. Let your silence speak louder than your defense. The chosen don't chase approval, they walk in authority. And you don't need to justify the instructions I've given you. What looks like retreat is actually recalibration. What they think is quitting is obedience. Let them misunderstand you while heaven is realigning you. My voice over your life is the only explanation you need. This season of fatigue is the divine proof that you've stepped into a new dimension of warfare. And in that dimension, the weapons look different. Your tears are weapons. Your rest is a weapon. Your refusal to move ahead of my timing, that's warfare. The enemy isn't confused. He knows exactly who you are. He sees the anointing rising in you, and that's why he's attacking your energy. But he cannot stop what I've started. And he cannot reverse what I've sealed. The fact that you're even hearing this right now is a sign you're not late, you're right on time. You didn't miss your moment. You didn't sleep through your breakthrough. In fact, while others were running around exhausted, you chose to rest. And that was the most strategic move you could have made. I honor obedience more than effort. And your obedience to rest has positioned you for sudden release. So yes, chosen one, stay in bed, because the holy war is being won through your stillness. Chosen one, do not mistake the silence for absence. Just because the battlefield is quiet doesn't mean the war is over. It means heaven is positioning the next strike. This part of the war requires stealth. I'm teaching you how to move without noise, how to obey without applause, how to trust without explanation. The less you're seen right now, the more effective you'll be when I release you. Because power that's formed in silence cannot be stolen by noise. And the glory I'm building in you will not be shared with distraction. Some of the heaviness you've been feeling isn't yours, it's intercession. You've been carrying burdens I assigned to you for a reason. Because you're not just a participant in this war, you're a weapon in it. When others sleep through the battle, you wake up with spiritual bruises, and that's not random. That's recognition. I marked you for this. And that's why the enemy fears your rest. Because when you get up, you carry fire. When you rise, demons scatter, and when you speak, atmospheres shift. You are not just trying to get through the day, you are holding back darkness by simply existing. That's how powerful your presence is. You don't always have to say something for the atmosphere to shift. Just by walking in a room, hell gets nervous. Just by staying faithful, you're undoing curses. Just by staying in bed when I tell you to, you're preserving the anointing that will break chains later. Obedience doesn't always look like action. Sometimes it looks like restraint, and your restraint is reverence. I'm training you to hear me above the noise. I'm weaning you off adrenaline-based obedience. You don't need a crisis to obey. You don't need an emergency to respond. You don't need fear to move you anymore. I'm teaching you to move from alignment, not anxiety, to act from discernment, not drama, and to trust that when I say rest, I mean it. This is not a suggestion, it's a command. Rest is holy to me, and when you honor it, I bless everything that follows. You've survived what others didn't notice, you've battled what others couldn't carry, and you've obeyed in moments when no one gave you credit. That's why I trust you. I don't pick the loudest, I pick the obedient. I don't choose the flashy, I choose the faithful. And chosen one, you've been faithful in the silence. That's why your reward will be public. That's why your favor will be visible. And that's why your next season will come suddenly. You've been sensing something breaking but couldn't explain it. That's not your imagination, it's revelation. The pressure is confirmation. The fatigue is signal. The low energy, the irritability, the strange dreams, all signs that something spiritual is closing and something greater is opening. You're at the threshold and your body is reacting to the transition. Don't let the discomfort confuse you. The birthing always gets intense before the release. I know you want answers, but I'm giving you strength instead. I know you want direction, but I'm giving you discernment. Because what's ahead isn't about knowing every detail. It's about trusting every instruction. And right now, my instruction is clear. Let me finish what I started in you. Don't rush out of this bed season trying to fix what I'm already healing. Don't move out of fatigue just to meet someone's expectation. You're not on their clock. You're on mine. You've wondered if you're missing your moment. Let me answer that now. You are not. You're right where I need you to be. And while you rest, I'm aligning the unseen. I'm dealing with enemies you didn't know existed. I'm orchestrating divine reversals. I'm exposing the hidden motives around you. And I'm preparing the stage for a breakthrough you didn't even ask for. Stay in bed when I say stay in bed. Because this war isn't yours to win. It's mine to finish. Chosen one, there's a reason your dreams have been intense lately. A reason your sleep feels more like a journey than a break. That's not just imagination, it's revelation. I've been downloading warnings, strategies, confirmations, and even glimpses of what's ahead into your spirit while your body rests. You've been traveling dimensions while the world thought you were sleeping. I've been giving you access to rooms your feet haven't walked into yet. Because before I send you somewhere physically, I prepare you spiritually. You've woken up remembering fragments, feelings, and flashes. That's because what I gave you wasn't meant for your mind. It was meant for your spirit. Some of those dreams weren't random, they were instructions. Some of those nightmares weren't attacks, they were exposures. I allowed you to see what's been hiding in plain sight. And now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. That's part of the holy war too, recognizing what others deny. Because revelation is warfare, and I trust you to carry it. You're being sharpened in silence, your discernment is being upgraded, and your capacity is increasing. You're noticing things now that never bothered you before. You're sensitive to atmospheres. You're uncomfortable around certain conversations. You're being irritated by familiar cycles. That's not hypersensitivity. It's spiritual growth. I'm stretching your perception because I'm about to expand your assignment, and you can't carry new authority with old awareness, so I'm refining you from the inside out. This refinement is why your energy has felt unpredictable. One moment you're motivated, the next you're wiped out. 1 hour you feel aligned, the next you're disoriented. That's not instability, it's reconfiguration. I'm removing the residue of every room that no longer fits you. I'm disconnecting your spirit from environments that were draining you, and I'm restoring your peace one boundary at a time. That's why I've pulled you back. That's why I'm telling you to stay in bed. Because your rest is recalibration. There are some battles you didn't even know I shielded you from. Situations that should have broken you, conversations that were meant to wound you, people who were planning to drain you. But I intercepted it. I blocked it before it reached you. And instead of a crisis, I gave you an assignment to rest. Every time you feel that strange heaviness out of nowhere, remember, it's not random. It's me protecting you from a warfare you didn't even know was launched. You've been trained to believe that rest means retreat. But in my kingdom, rest is preparation. Before I raised Joseph, I let him sleep in prison. Before I launched Esther, I kept her hidden in the palace. Before I released Jesus, I led him into the wilderness. I always rest what I'm about to reveal. And chosen one, you are in your reveal season. That's why the rest feels so intense. It's the final covering before the unveiling. Your time is not being wasted. Your momentum is not gone. Your life is not stuck. Everything is right on schedule. But I'm not building you for convenience. I'm building you for impact. That means I won't let you move until you're whole. I won't let you launch half full. I won't let you pour from exhaustion. And I won't let you compromise your calling for approval. That's why I'm telling you again, rest is not optional. It's the next level of your obedience. Because when you rise from this, nothing will stop you. When you walk out of this rest, your steps will be ordered with precision. When you speak, your words will carry weight. And when you move, doors will open that no one can shut. You're not just resting, you're being resurrected. And the holy war that's being won in your sleep will soon manifest in every area of your life. Stay in bed when I say stay in bed. Because your rest is setting the stage for resurrection. Chosen one, the warfare you've been experiencing has been generational. You're not just battling for yourself, you're breaking what's never been broken in your bloodline. That's why it feels heavier than it should. That's why even simple tasks have carried invisible weight. You've inherited patterns that didn't start with you but are ending with you. And this battle hasn't just touched your mind, it's touched your body. That exhaustion, that tension, that unexplained pain, it's spiritual residue from the chains you're breaking in silence. I see the nights you cried without knowing why, the mornings you woke up with grief you couldn't explain. That wasn't emotional instability, that was spiritual sensitivity. You were feeling what others ignored. You were grieving what was hidden. You were interceding without even realizing it. Because even while your eyes were closed, your spirit was wide open, and I was downloading strength. Not the kind the world sees, but the kind that makes hell tremble. Your tears weren't weakness, they were weapons, and I've collected everyone. I'm shifting your identity, not who you are in me, that's secure, but how you see yourself. You're not just a survivor, you're not just someone who made it through. You are a deliverer, a restorer, a curse breaker. And I don't let deliverers move ahead of schedule. I train them deeply. I isolate them intentionally. I refine them thoroughly. Because when I release them, they carry oil, not noise. And that oil is forming in the rest you're being called to right now. You've asked why it seems like everyone else is moving forward faster. That's because their assignment is different. I don't anoint everyone to carry what you carry. What takes them a moment takes you a season. Because the fruit you bear will feed nations. I'm building longevity in you. I'm not rushing you to meet the world's timelines. I'm establishing you to fulfill mine. And that takes time. That takes patience. That takes rest. Stay in bed when I say stay in bed, because this season is about roots, not results. There is a kind of peace that can't be faked, a peace that doesn't come from progress or productivity, a peace that surpasses understanding. And that's the peace I'm giving you now. It won't make sense to others. They'll wonder why you're not panicking, why you're not striving, why you're not hustling to catch up. But they don't understand what you're anchored in. You're not running after provision, you're resting in promise. And that promise is unshakable. Every delay has been deliberate. Every pause has been prophetic. You thought you were falling behind, but I was just moving distractions out of the way. You thought the silence meant something was wrong, but it was me speaking in a language you hadn't learned yet. Stillness. I've been talking through stillness, and now you're learning how to listen without panic, how to obey without noise, how to rest without guilt. That's spiritual maturity. And it's preparing you for divine release. Your assignment is evolving. What I called you to before was real, but what I'm calling you to now is weightier. That's why I had to slow you down. That's why I couldn't let you keep moving on momentum. I needed you grounded, anchored, prepared, because when I send you out next, you won't return the same. You'll carry authority, you'll walk in clarity, and you'll speak with power. Not because you tried harder, but because you finally rested when I told you to. You've been waiting for the release, but the truth is, I've been waiting on your rest. I can't put full weight on a structure that hasn't settled, and your rest is the settling. Your obedience to lay down is what's been strengthening your foundation. I'm building you to last. I'm anchoring you for generations. So stay in bed when I say stay in bed. Because what looks like stillness to others is actually the staging ground of your next spiritual assignment. Chosen one, let's make this clear. You didn't choose this war, it chose you. Not because of anything you did wrong, but because of everything I ordained right. The enemy has sensed your rising before you fully understood it yourself. That's why the warfare started early. That's why you've always felt different, out of place, misunderstood. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. I've been setting you apart for something the crowd cannot carry. And I've been using your isolation to forge unshakable intimacy between you and me. You didn't lose your motivation. You outgrew what was no longer aligned. The things that once excited you now feel empty. That's not failure. That's evolution. I've elevated your appetite. You can't go back to surface living after tasting depth. You're no longer content with what's shallow. And that discontent is proof that your spirit has been upgraded. That's why your energy doesn't flow where it used to. You've entered a different frequency, and not everything can follow you there. I know you've been tempted to force momentum, to make something happen just to feel alive again, but I won't let you. Not because I'm holding you back, but because I'm holding you together. I'm preserving your energy for the doors that I, not you, will open. Every forced step drains you, but every obedient pause refreshes you. You're not running out of time, you're running into timing. My timing, and it's perfect. Don't despise the bed. That's where I've met you most clearly. That's where the tears turned into revelation. That's where the panic turned into peace. That's where your flesh was quieted long enough for your spirit to rise. I don't need noise to move. I don't need a crowd to confirm. I move in whispers, in nudges, in stillness. And you're finally learning to follow me without needing a storm. That's maturity. That's war wisdom. That's what makes you dangerous to the enemy. You are not unstable. You are transitioning. Transition looks messy when judged too early. It looks like confusion when you're not supposed to explain it. But don't worry, I'm not confused about you. I see exactly what I'm doing. I've got your steps, I've got your schedule, I've got your strength. What looks like a delay is actually divine positioning, and what feels like stagnation is actually stealth. I'm hiding you on purpose. The enemy knows better than to confront you directly right now. That's why he's targeting your energy, your sleep, your rhythm. He's trying to scatter your attention because he can't touch your authority. But I'm surrounding you with peace that doesn't flinch. I'm reminding your soul who owns your timeline, and I'm placing my hand on your chest and saying, "Be still, I've got this." That stillness is not surrender to defeat, it's surrender to design. I'm not done, I'm deepening. You've cried out asking me when things will shift. Here's the answer. It already has. The moment you stopped pushing and started trusting, the atmosphere shifted. The spiritual realm recognized your obedience before you saw any results. The resistance you feel now is not punishment, it's pushback. Hell is trying to reclaim what it lost. But it's too late. You already surrendered. You already aligned. You already obeyed. And now all of heaven is backing your next move, so stay in bed when I say stay in bed. Not as an escape, but as a strategy. Not as avoidance, but as assignment. Because while the world runs in circles, you're being stabilized for something greater. What's forming in your rest will soon manifest in your steps. And when you rise this time, you won't just walk, you'll take territory. Because the holy war you've been fighting in stillness is producing a boldness that no demon can withstand. Chosen one, here is what most won't tell you. Obedience often looks like inactivity. The deepest faith is not always loud or public. It's private surrender, silent endurance, hidden trust. And that's what you've been walking in. Others may not see your warfare, but I do. Others may not validate your process, but I've already approved it. You don't need their permission to be obedient to me, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for following my voice. When I say rest, it's because I'm doing something behind the veil. When I tell you to pause, it's because timing is being refined. If you move too early, you'll miss divine alignment. If you move too late, you'll exhaust yourself trying to catch what I already orchestrated. So I'm teaching you a rhythm that doesn't come from culture. It comes from covenant, and that rhythm begins with rest. You'll know you're in alignment when peace becomes your default, not panic. You've been forced to let go of plans, release control, and sit in what felt like uncertainty. But that wasn't punishment. It was purification. I've been detoxing you from the need to produce in order to prove. You are not valuable because of your output. You are valuable because you're mine, and I'll never rush what I'm still refining. I care more about your depth than your speed, more about your alignment than your appearance, and more about your soul than your schedule. Before we go further, pause and lock this moment in. Like this video if you're receiving exactly what your spirit needed. Subscribe right now. Don't miss the next word I'm sending you. Drop 55 in the comments if you're walking in covenant alignment. That's your prophetic signal. Now hear this. I'm not just restoring your strength, I'm restoring your authority. You lost your voice in the noise of pressure. You second-guessed what you knew in your spirit because of who doubted you. But I'm restoring your roar, and that roar doesn't come from shouting, it comes from knowing. Knowing who you are, knowing who I am, knowing what I've called you to. And that kind of knowing can't be stolen by delay, silence, or fatigue. I've been training you to hear me when nothing else makes sense, to trust me when every door closes, to obey me when it costs you relationships, opportunities, and reputation. That's the kind of obedience that moves heaven. That's the kind of trust that shifts timelines. And that's why I've let you sit still while others ran ahead. Because what you're being trained for requires precision, not popularity. Discernment, not distraction. Strength, not speed. You are not missing out. You are being filled up. Every ounce of rest you've surrendered to me is now being multiplied back to you as clarity, favor, and supernatural access. You didn't miss your open door. It's being held open by angels. You didn't fall behind. You've been carried forward by grace. And what's coming next isn't a recovery. It's a resurrection. From the outside, it may look like you're starting over, but in the spirit, you're taking dominion. So if your body still feels heavy, honor it. If your soul still feels quiet, don't rush it. If your energy hasn't returned yet, trust that it will. You're not malfunctioning. You're merging with my timing. You're syncing with heaven's frequency. And you're finally learning how to live from overflow instead of depletion. That's what this bed season is about. Learning how to rise without striving. That's how chosen ones are built. So yes, stay in bed when I say stay in bed, because the next move I'm preparing in your life won't require performance. It will flow from peace. And when it begins, the world will know that you didn't make this happen. I did. Chosen one, you've survived the kind of warfare most people never see. And not only did you survive, you stayed faithful. That alone qualifies you for the elevation I've prepared. This rest has not been punishment, it's been preservation. I couldn't afford to let you burn out before your time. I've been pouring oil into places no one else knew were dry. And now your restoration is almost complete. Not the kind that just gets you back on your feet, but the kind that equips you to walk into rooms with spiritual authority that cannot be faked. You're not just coming out stronger, you're coming out different. There's a weight on your life now that didn't exist before. It's the weight of glory, the residue of being hidden with me. The world thought you disappeared, but I was cloaking you in fire. What they called weakness was your wilderness. What they mocked as idleness was my instruction. And what they overlooked will become the very thing that elevates you. I have not forgotten a single moment of your obedience in stillness. So now I speak this into your soul. Rise when I say rise, and rest when I say rest. No more moving from pressure. No more running from fear. No more questioning your pace just because others don't understand it. I've ordered your steps and I've timed your seasons. You are no longer bound to urgency. You are now moving in precision, and everything that was held up will flow because you chose to trust me in the quiet. You were never behind. You were just in the hands of a God who works in silence. And now that the warfare has shifted, so will the weight. So rest when I say rest. Move when I say move. And speak when I give you words. Because the world needs what I've deposited in you. And heaven is backing every step you take from here on out.